All right, it is actually officially live. So this is our first ever FDH live Google Hangout, and we really don't even know what we're going to be discussing today or whether anyone's going to drop in or not. And we'll try to, in the future, schedule these so that some reason it's just on you the whole time. All right, that's better. So we'll try to schedule these and have different guests on and just talk about different topics and whatnot. And your guys are able to ask any questions and we can answer them. So we're not really fully sure how we're going to use this forum, and we're just kind of getting to know it. So here it is, and we're just testing it out. So let's talk about the hunt yesterday and what you feel was our main problem yesterday. On yesterday's hunt, I don't know if you guys watched it or not. I'll try to link to it if that's possible. But, and guys, feel free to ask questions. We've got about 18 viewers now, so feel free to ask questions in the chat menu, and we can answer those. But yesterday's hunt was extremely fun, but frustrating also because we had a lot of ducks working, and we just, no matter what we did, we could not get those ducks to come and decoy in. And so, you know, I'm going to let you answer the question is, what do you feel like was our problem yesterday with not being able to land the ducks, and what do you think that we should do differently next time?
Well, should we kind of explain what that hunt was about yesterday?
Sure, that's fine.
So it's a flooded marsh in which they allowed weeds and grasses and cucumber's and willow trees and all kinds of stuff grow up into, and then they flooded that. And so that's what it was. It was a big flooded marsh. And to get to this marsh, it's about a half a mile walk down this road. And so we had to get our boats down that half a mile of road, and then we put into the pool. And then we had about another close to a half a mile paddling to get to the spot. On the way in, we went past a group of guys, so we moved on farther away from them, and we set up in our layout blinds in a kind of a little stand of willows close to an open pool. And but as before shooting time, there were tons of flocks of ducks flying around. We thought they were probably mallards, but you know, in the early morning when it's not even shooting time yet, it's a little difficult to tell. But there was some quacking, so we knew that there were mallards there. And so we saw multiple groups flying around, and nothing would land in our decoys even before shooting time. But once shooting time arrived, there was two groups of hunters, the group that we went by, and there was another group who had come in behind us, and they were quite a ways away. But this second group was, I'm saying, probably a group of 6 or 7 guys, because every time one of them shot, the others would empty their gun. And so we're talking about volleys of 15 to 20 shots per volley. I think that has an effect on ducks. The other group that was in there ahead of us, they were doing okay. I mean, I don't think they were sky busting. They weren't emptying their guns every time they shot, but they were wailing away on their duck call, as were we. But we just had a terrible time getting anything to land in our decoys. So that's the background of this hunt.
All right, so I know I've done some reflecting. I want, and when we get in those type of situations, to actually shoot more than 3 ducks. There's just too many ducks around to only shoot that many. So what do you think we should do different next time?
Well, first of all, we like to shoot ducks landing in the decoys. And so if the first time we get a circling flock that comes in range but doesn't land, we have a tendency to let them go and see if we can bring them back around and land them. Well, the problem was that we were getting a couple of flocks, and only probably 2 or 3 flocks in the first few hours. that actually circled close enough to us that they were in range. But some of those times, I mean, I was sitting behind some bushes, kind of sideways, and they were coming from my left side. So I was having a hard time seeing them until they were right on us. And Dan was waiting for, I think, for somebody else to say kill them. And so we just weren't shooting. After we realized that we might have to be shooting at some close passing shots, and there was nothing wrong with those passing shots that we were getting. It's just that we were trying to land them, and that's the way we like to shoot them, and that's the way I shoot 90% of the ducks I kill, or landing.
Right, so what changes do we need to make? You're stiffing the question.
The changes is, first of all, we need to drag those guys out of the marsh that are shooting 20 volleys and beat the crap out of them.
Well, I don't think any of us are tough enough to do that, so I don't think that's out of the.
No, definitely not tough enough without some equalizers. So obviously we can't do that. Now we could choose places that we don't think we're going to have any competition. That's one choice we have. Another choice that we can make is not only were the other guys blowing their calls, but actually there was more than 3 groups in there. There was another single or 2 that I could hear quacking on a duck call. But they're going to do that, but maybe we need to lay off the call when everybody else is calling. I think it's just like, I'm afraid that it's just like waving a red flag in front of their face that, you know, there's can't be 10 different ducks down there calling at me. And so I'm not landing any place.
Well, you know, I was trying to be pretty careful with the calling, and for the most part, I'm trying to call on the ducks around on the edges. So as they're circling away and turning them as they're way out far. So my calling was never real aggressive, but I guess that going to even less than that.
Well, the question, you weren't calling any more than normal. If we'd been the only group in the marsh, that probably wouldn't be a problem. But it just seems to me that when you have a lot of guys calling, sometimes it's just tough. And it's hard when they're circling away from you not to try to call them back. That's really hard to do.
Well, and when we did that, I mean, I had ducks would react to the call many times when they were kind of on those edges, and we called them back. They would actually respond favorably. There would a lot of times be like a duck or 2 that would set his wings and turn with the call. The others would kind of follow him, but then not all the way down in, so they wouldn't go. So I felt like I was actually getting some mileage out of the call. I kept going to it.
I'm not sure that you were calling too much, but if you know what our results were, so we're just scraping the bottom of the barrel to try to figure out something that we could have done differently, and that's one thing we could have done differently.
Yeah, I think that if we were going to do it over again, I would have us go to about 12.5 decoys and no spinners at all, and try no calling. And, you know, I think in the future when I'm filming, what I'm going to do is when I have the camera, not call at all, and that we can really get a good sample size of no calling at all. Because number one, when I edit the video, I don't like the sound of the duck call up so close to the camera, and I'm constantly trying to edit it out because it's so loud and it sounds but I don't mind the sound of the call when I'm not videoing. So I may just go to not calling at all when I'm the one with the video camera.
Well, I could do a little more calling when you have the camera, I suppose.
I know, but I think maybe that it would benefit us just to see. So many people talk about not calling at all, and so I think for a while just to mute the calling altogether and see what happens during those times.
Well, if any of you have watched our discussion video about whether spinners should be pulled or not, you know that we're skeptical of the idea of pulling spinners. I am also skeptical of just not calling at all. I would say that Can you remember a time when we have shut up on the call and immediately they started coming in?
Well, I know that I have said I was going to shut up on the call before, but I'm not sure how productive I've been on actually shutting up on the call.
Well, yeah, you've definitely given them a pass or two without calling, but then you kind of lose control again.
Yeah. Well,
So that's something. The other thing is we were working with two spinners. We pulled one. We never did pull the second one. And we were dealing with, what do we have? About 4 dozen mixed species of decoys.
yeah.
And maybe we should go down to 2 dozen or something.
Yeah.
When that happens.
Yeah.
Because there were lots and lots of ducks, and they were about 90% mallards this time of year, early November or mid-November. But we just couldn't get them in, and we were laying out, so we were covered pretty well.
Now, for those of you that are viewing right now, like I said, this is the first time that we've ever used Google Hangouts. And my understanding is that the chat screen on the right is supposed to be like a question asking forum, and I haven't seen anyone post anything yet. So that kind of leads me to believe that maybe that section of this is not functioning the way that it's supposed to. If you are viewing and you can enter the chat message, if you could please do that, just so we know that that's working appropriately. I think we're going to start using these Google Hangouts. I don't know how exactly we're going to use it yet. I know we will have Q&As. I may also use some patrons at Patreon. When you go over there, one of the benefits that you get is that I will actually help you and advise you on how to build a YouTube channel. So on Patreon, I think I may do Q&As on here with people on Patreon that are trying to build their channel to kind of promote their channel and let you guys see some FDH members. And so I think that's one way that we're going to use this as well. But I don't think that the chat bar is working right now because I haven't seen anyone say anything. So anyway, let's go ahead and move on to the upcoming trip that we've got. We leave Wednesday evening, and we're going to be hunting Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Have you had a chance to take a look at the weather for this trip?
Yeah. The wind is the wind was only blowing Thursday, and now it looks like the wind is blowing Thursday and Friday.
Yeah.
When we say blowing, we're talking about what, gusts of 15 to 25 miles an hour, probably.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's going to be a little on the warm side those 2 days. It's going to be, let's see, in the 50s at night and 60s or 70 in the day, something like that. And then Saturday, it's supposed to be cooler, sunny, and no wind. So I think that's the weather on it.
Well,
we will have a north wind, I think, on Wednesday and maybe Thursday.
well, no. North wind is Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday.
Okay.
Thursday, it's going to be 73 degrees. And Friday, it's going to be 52 degrees. And Saturday, it's going to be 50 degrees. And lows in the high 20s at night. So we should see a really huge influx of birds Friday and Saturday.
All those, it's 20s at night, all those nights?
Friday night and Thursday night, Friday night.
Okay, I thought it was warmer than that on Thursday night.
I think, well, the forecast keeps changing and keeps dropping.
Yeah.
So I don't expect Thursday to be that great unless a bunch of birds come in on Tuesday, but I think Friday and Saturday is looking really good.
Now, the place that we're going, and I won't name it, so don't get nervous. It's a natural marsh about 12 miles in diameter. It's circular, and it's divided into pools. And it's the kind of thing where all of the hunting pools are allowed to grow up during the spring and summer, and then they're flooded from the refuge pool in the fall for hunting purposes. And so normally there's a lot of food in these pools. This year, apparently, I don't know about the food, but what we've been hearing is that there's a lot of cattails that grew up this year, but they're not really high cattails, right? They're only what, 3 feet tall?
I don't know. I assume they're pretty tall. There's a bunch of vegetation that called buckrush or something like buck something.
Bulrush?
Buck bulrush, maybe that's what it is, bulrush. And that's about 24 inches. I assume the
Okay.
cattails are probably.
Huh. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. All right. So anyway, if we've got tall cattails, we may not lay out. But if we don't have tall cattails, tall cover, we're going to be laying out then.
Yeah, I know that the guy down there that's going to be kind of helping us out, Larry, he says he likes to lay out in that bulrush.
Okay.
So I assume that's what we're going to be doing.
Okay. Well, what are you thinking about decoys that we need to take?
Green wing teal, pintail, a few gadwalls and mallards, I would say, and widgeon. I'm going to talk to
Same we've been taking.
Yeah, well, Larry's going to go with us on Friday, so it'll be you, me, Corn, and Larry on Friday because we're getting in so late on Wednesday night, and so I'm going to talk to him about how many decoys he's been using. And he shoots so many ducks on Friday, I'm going to let him kind of run the show.
Okay, so you're not planning on hunting Thursday then?
No, we are, just not with him.
Oh, I see.
But I'll talk to him about how many decoys he's been using and what different species and kind of get his advice. Because when there's ducks out there, he shoots a limit almost every time.
All right.
So I'm going to kind of let him be our guide, so to speak,
Yeah.
On what.
So the legit on what we're doing. Okay. So the logistics of getting there is that I'm pulling our 26-foot travel trailer. And right now, I'm in my living room. I've got my rack for my new truck ready to assemble. So I'll put my rack on my truck and I'll put my big layout boat on that rack, and you'll haul the other 2 layout boats.
Well, I think that Corn is going to drive by himself. He's actually thinking about just getting a hotel room or something. I guess he just needs a little bit of space.
Okay.
So, but he and I will drive separate because I'm going to want to hunt a full hunt on Saturday with the way the weather's playing out. So I might not come back until Sunday, and but he may want to come back Saturday. So he and I will leave about 5, but we'll take separate vehicles.
So you're only hauling 1 layout boat, and Corn is bringing his own?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So when are you heading down there?
Well, I suppose I should leave soon enough to be able to look around and kind of scout around a little bit if we're hunting Thursday.
Yeah, and I'll ask Larry where he thinks. I mean, I'll ask him what pool he thinks we should hunt, and even what ramp we should go in from, because he knows that place like the back of his hand.
Tell him that we kind of prefer the outer pools. We're not as crazy about hunting off of the boat ramps on the inner roads, because there are roads that circle this circular marsh.
Is that pool 2?
Well, there are ramps all along on all the pools on the inner road, but we like to go off of the outer ramps.
Well, I would like him to just put us on to wherever he thinks we can shoot ducks.
Yeah, well, that's fine, but if we have a choice, there's more people. We just have had better luck by staying on the outer.
Okay.
And something else about this marsh is I'm about 4 hours away from it, and but it's not new to us. We used to live only an hour away, and so Elliot and I have actually hunted this marsh several times prior to the time that we've moved back here east with Elliott. So we are kind of familiar with the area. But yeah, so ask him and let's see what he says.
Yeah, I will. I've got his phone number, and if you're down there early enough, you know, you could even contact him as well. I don't know what his schedule is. I know he's working Thursday, but so yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll take a look around and see what it looks like.
Okay.
So,
Well,
which means I need to be here. I need to be there several hours before sunset.
yeah, that sounds good. All right. Well, let's go ahead and close this off. Obviously, I was doing something wrong because the chat looks like it's only available to two of us. So I'll try to fix that for next time, and we'll figure out a way to use this Q&A a little bit more purposefully in the future. I just wanted to get a test run and kind of see
Right.
how it worked and see what the feedback was on it. So feel free to comment in the comment section of the video, and we'll see how we can use this in the future. But that's all we've got for today. We've got those 3 hunts coming up this week, so there'll be a bunch of videos coming out here from now until the end of November. So that's all I've got. So thank you guys for viewing, and appreciate you watching the videos.